Ladies and gentlemen, today we got the ultimate Call of Duty tier list where we rank every single game up to Black Ops 6 from F to S, talking about it in 2025. I think a lot of the opinions have changed even just in the last couple of years. Shout out to Mattress, but let's get into this, man.
Right here. Okay. My first Call of Duty game, period, was Call of Duty Black Ops on the Wii.
Sheesh. That's crazy.
So
that's wild.
This was my first Call of Duty game that I ever had. Was Black Ops on the Wii.
Mine was MW2, but it definitely was not on the Wii. It was on the 360.
Where I learned the campaign, the multiplayer, the zombies.
Right. Black Ops on the Wii, man.
That was what I grew up with.
What a tainted opinion.
Around middle of 2011, I would say April or May, I got an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Just so I could actually...
COD was an Xbox 360 game at one point.
Games that had so much more content in it.
I would say up until Advanced Warfare.
I finally convinced my parents to like, hey, can I please get a 360? So I sold my Wii, all of my Wii games, my DS, and all my DS games. So
man.
I got rid of
Bro traded it into GameStop for a solid $4.35, man.
No, so I could buy a freaking Xbox 360. But yeah, so we got these. I got the trio or the quartet. Is that what they're called?
The OG four,
of
man.
Call of Duty games right
man.
here. So and I was in love. I loved zombies. I loved multiplayer, campaign, all of it. So after that, I bought every single Call of Duty. After that, there has not been a Call of Duty since Black Ops that I have not gotten on release date.
It's honestly, I think, true except for Vanguard for me. And World War II, I never bought that game. I got it sent by Activision. Thank you. I would never have bought that game. But yeah, it's crazy that we are at Black Ops 7 already, like in 2025. And honestly, it just makes me appreciate every new Black Ops game that comes out makes me appreciate the first one so much more. And how incredibly well written and devised that game was. Same thing with BO2 and even a bit of BO3. You know?
So that's been 15 years. Oh my gosh. That's great.
Yeah, 2010 is 15 years ago. My gosh.
I've kept up with all of them, and some of them I think are amazing, but some of these I think are absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
So
they did not age well still.
Them. Do I play on console? I play on just about everything. I've got an Xbox Series X. I've got a PS5.
I ain't got no Xbox Series X, man.
My wife has a Switch. So my Sprite.
It's crazy because COD is coming back to Switch. They might be releasing Black Ops 7 on the Switch. Like, that is weird.
Shoot!
Bro,
hold on. Chat, I'm spilling stuff.
I've done this all the time on stream, man. Come on, bro.
I'm out of paper towels, too. This isn't good. Is this a clip? Is this clip farming? God 1 through MW2. I did not play those in their primes.
Dude, it's crazy because COD 1 to COD 3, I think, are just forgotten games. Unless you're like a COD YouTuber, very few people today have ever played those.
But back in the days of, like, when I started playing in Call of Duty Black Ops, you could still go back and play these games, and they were actually playable. They're not like how they are now, where, like, you literally can't play these games.
Unless you have it on PC.
But I went back and I played COD 2 and COD 3 on the 360.
Everybody says COD 3 is worse
I never
than
played
COD
1 just because it was PC exclusive. But
I didn't know that.
I'm just going to put it in C just because it's the first Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
You can't rank it bad just because it's like
it's that Nocturne and Totem type rating, bro.
That came after this without the first one. So
yeah.
I don't feel like you can rank it bad, but I also don't think, unless you played it in its prime in 2003, that was the year I was born. There's no reason you should rank this any higher than C.
Like, the OG first COD is 22 years old. That is actually insane. That is older than most people probably watching this video.
All right, wow. Call of Duty 2. I'm going to put it in B, I guess, in the bottom of B.
I think that's fair.
I mean, it was okay. I guess it was an improvement over COD.
I don't think you could put any of the first 3 CODs above A.
1,
to
but
be honest.
I mean, really,
they didn't have any
really
acclaim,
that much of
you know?
Improvement. It'll probably be, these will probably be right next to each other. I just don't know if I want to keep this in C and just put it above it or put it at like the bottom of B. I'm gonna put it here. I think this is fine because Call of Duty 3 I think is garbage.
See, this is what everybody says. Everybody hated COD 3. And this is, I think, what started Treyarch's bad reputation. But then their next game after this was World at War, then after was Black Ops 1. They pulled up their socks, man.
It's not like trash, completely trash, but COD 3, I was not a fan of it. I never really liked it just because, like, it just wasn't that good. The campaign was mid.
You can play
corny and
you can play tanks in that game, right?
The multiplayer was not good either. And like that was like all CODs had back in the day. You literally had multiplayer and campaign. And that was it.
Tough scenes out there in 2003.
The campaign was not that fun. And then the multiplayer was very mid, and so it was just kind of whatever. So I mean, it's not great. At least like Call of Duty 2.
The worst part about the first 3 CODs is that they're very outdated to the point where there's a lot of other games that do the OG like WW2 setting way better now than the OG 3 CODs, especially because graphically they have not aged well as well.
I think had a really good campaign.
Yeah.
And COD 1 was kind of the same way. It's like the campaign was okay, and the multiplayer. You can still play COD 1's multiplayer today on PC. Like
that's
there's a lot
crazy. I didn't even know that. That's wild.
Cool. But yeah, COD 2, it was kind of just mid all around. It had a good story, mid multiplayer, so it just kind of lands it here. But yeah, Call of Duty 3, didn't really care for it.
What about COD 4?
A big thing.
It's crazy because most people are like myself where they came back to play COD 4. I know some people that were around during COD 4, but they're getting fewer and fewer nowadays.
But, okay, COD 4, once again, I did not play this game in its prime.
Same.
And
yeah,
I know that this game literally changed Call of Duty and just the FPS genre forever.
Yeah, and I played MWR more than
I'm putting
OG COD 4. Yeah.
Just because I like the story. The campaign is amazing. Just the MW1, 2, and 3, the original, that campaign trilogy is amazing.
It's class.
It's better than the Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, which I guess you can count World at War 2. But if you're going off of the original story from World at War to Black Ops 3.
I think it's literally what got people interested into campaign. Like the OG COD 4 just training range was just so iconic, man. I think, yeah, you at least have to put OG COD 4 above A.
I think the Modern Warfare series is a better story just because the Black Ops 3 story was so terrible and it just literally did nothing.
True.
If
As
Black
a
Ops
trilogy,
3 had a good campaign. I think that trilogy would be better. But
listen, I always say this: BO3 had a bad campaign because of zombies. Like zombies was the real campaign of Black Ops 3. So that's the way I see it.
I feel like MW3 had a satisfying ending. I feel like it was. For most trilogies, usually
it wasn't bad.
The ending is not really that good, but I feel like MW3 had a good ending.
I agree.
But COD 4 as a whole, I don't think it's amazing. I think it's great, and it's great for what it did for Call of Duty and FPS games as a whole. But I don't put it up its respects like other people do.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people out there that put this game very high up in like their top 3. It's just not.
I think a lot of people have a bunch of problems even with the MP of this game, which is, I think, fair. Like, this was their very first iconic attempt at a COD, but still, for what they were able to accomplish in 2007, we are still running the engine of OG COD 4 on every single Call of Duty game up to 2025 for Black Ops 7. That is just ridiculous.
Not for me. World at War, though. I put World at War above COD 4.
I kind of agree.
I respect COD 4 for what it did, but I think World at War was a better game.
Dude, okay, I have to say this especially now because World at War is like one of the few COD games that really went into the grittiness of the war. And I think especially now with how games are so scared to go that route, it makes me treasure World at War more. And I do think it's an A or an S tier for sure.
Because one, zombies. Like,
and
zombies literally like gave Call of Duty a whole other reason to make Call of Duty. So
yeah,
zombies in itself puts it in.
I mean, dude, it's crazy because the IW devs, right, for Infinite Warfare, they actually stated a statistic years later on Twitter that more people were playing zombies than even multiplayer at some points during this game. And it goes to show, it's like, yeah, if World at War did not start the zombies trend, Call of Duty would not have survived this long, I feel like.
Yes, for me. But amazing campaign, amazing story.
Goated campaign.
The multiplayer was good. It had the campaign, or the multiplayer was actually great. It was it was a reskin of COD 4, which I think it was like, I could understand it because COD 4 had a great formula. So it's like, why change it?
I agree. It's interesting also that like MP fans didn't like World at War at the time, right? But campaign fans loved World at War because of also zombies, right? So it's interesting how even all the way back in the OG COD 4 and World at War, the fan base of both of those games was already divided, right? And now it's so divided.
At that point in time, if it worked well in COD 4, it was going to work well in World at War.
I agree. I agree.
But I will say the guns were OP, but it was the
guns
same
were
thing
ridiculous.
For COD 4.
Yeah.
M16, World at War, you had the MP40. So it's like all the guns were overpowered. The guns that were overpowered. They didn't get patched. Things didn't get patched back then like they do today. If a game launched with a gun that didn't work well, it just stayed there.
Yeah, ain't nobody using that. They're not gonna freaking hot fix it or give it a buff. No, it was just dead.
Forever.
Yeah.
But World at War,
it's the
I
good
think
old
just
days,
all
man.
around is a better game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it's not at the top of S for me, but it is in S 100%.
And granted, I do have to say, like, the zombies explosion really wasn't until Black Ops 1. Right? And I honestly think that is also why MW2 never got a zombies mode. Because it's interesting, even after Black Ops 1, that MW3 didn't even get a zombies mode. Right? Like, I found that fascinating.
Now, MW2 is where I say the Modern Warfare franchise
it's still the best MP ever, bro.
Went crazy.
Yes.
2 is better than COD 4. I don't think there's a lot of people that disagree with that. But I know there are some people that think that COD 4 is better. And if you're probably like 40 years old if you think that.
Dude, the map range in MW2 is still one of the most iconic set of maps ever to release in any Call of Duty. Like, so many people will always remember them. So many of them are brought back even to this day. OG MW2 was a cultural phenomenon when it released, man. It was a huge deal.
But yeah, MW2 was so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like just the overpoweredness of the guns and just every gun was OP. It was fun. It was exactly what shooter video game should be.
Exactly.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun for everybody who played it. There was no skill base, which people say there was skill-based matchmaking back then, but I don't believe it. I think it was all connection.
There always was skill-based matchmaking, but it wasn't finely tuned to make you purchase microtransactions, right? Because it wasn't in the game. So I think it's just like there was, but it wasn't to the level of absolute devastation that it is after Warzone started releasing in COD, right?
And everybody just had a good time. It didn't matter if you were good at the game, bad at the game. You could get one of those games where you just got in there and you just went insane.
Yeah.
And that's what hooked you.
Yeah.
That was all you needed. You needed that one game that you played where you dropped 40, 50 kills, you got your first nuke, whatever.
Yes,
and it had
bro.
you hooked. And I feel like MW2 was the first Call of Duty game that did that.
I
and
agree.
one of the only Call of Duty games that did that, except for like 2 more. But MW2 was so much fun, even as somebody who didn't play it when it launched. But on the other side of that, I think Black Ops 1 is better.
Listen, I gotta agree. I gotta agree just because even though MW2 campaigns and multiplayer were so incredible, Black Ops just was different, man. There's 7 Black Ops games, bro. Like, granted, I know there's probably 7 Modern Warfare games, but it's like, it's so good that they just kept going. They just kept releasing more. Instead, like, MW2 and Modern Warfare had to reboot the whole franchise, right? Which I honestly think was a massive mistake, but I also think it's a massive mistake that we have 7 Black Ops, right? So, I don't know what to say.
Okay. Black Ops 1 was my favorite Call of Duty of all time.
It's still one of the best.
I loved Black Ops 1 so much. Once again, it's kind of the same reason why World at War is above COD 4 because of the zombies. Same thing with me for MW2 to be over.
It's like the most iconic video game main menu of all time, too. Like, it's not even just like the incredible campaign, incredible multiplayer, incredible zombies. The main menu was a game in and of itself, man.
I think multiplayer and campaign-wise, they are super, super close. But when it comes to just having that third mode, Zombies clears Spec Ops or whatever the hell they were doing. So
yeah, true, bro. Spec Ops
is the same thing. I will say the MW2 multiplayer was more fun, but just as a more balanced all around multiplayer game, Black Ops was insane.
Well, and it's interesting because Black Ops actually further divided the MP community because a lot of people did not like OG Black Ops 1 MP, so they went back and stayed on MW2 until MW3 dropped, right?
So it was so good.
Yeah,
so
it's interesting
because I mean, you got the story, the campaign, which is already a continuation of World at War, but it was its own thing at the same time, and it birthed its own franchise.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And then the multiplayer, sure, your guns were not as OP as
right.
they were.
That was the main
there was no
complaint.
Nuke. People complained about there not being a
people are running like all these like FAMAS suppressor classes, Galil suppressor, like also sniping was obviously not as polished as it was in MW2, so a lot of people were really upset about that. Like that was tough.
Which, I mean, I get, but just the multiplayer itself was so balanced and so just
I liked it though.
Well put together.
Yeah. The maps are still incredible.
It was a clean multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
It had that fast-paced Call of Duty feeling that every Call of Duty has compared to other FPS games. Yeah. It was set in a time period that wasn't World War II.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't modern.
Right.
It was in the middle, and I don't think there was many. Like I think Battlefield 2042 or something, or not 2042. Battlefield Bad Company 2. That was kind of in that Vietnam era, but it wasn't for the whole game. And then just it was a well fleshed out multiplayer game. The guns were good. There was a couple of kind of trash guns, but for the most part, they were all balanced. They were all good. What else? Kill streaks were good. Maps were amazing. Yeah. We're still playing Call of Duty Black Ops maps to this day.
Yeah, same thing with MW2 maps though, like, and even COD 4 maps like Shipment, you know.
Same thing
These
with
maps
MW2.
Were literally
iconic. BO1 campaign is the GOAT. I fully agree with that. The BO1 campaign is just it's literally a Hollywood movie. It is a Hollywood movie in a video game. But and then the party modes, the party game modes in BO1 multiplayer. Oh my god.
When COD points weren't like microtransaction based.
One in the chamber, sticks and stones,
dude,
gun game, and that was when you could have the wager matches.
The fact that is not like a staple in Call of Duty still when it was released 15 years ago is actually so dumb.
Oh, like you earned COD points from playing the game, not COD points like we have today, but like it was just like an in-game currency. Like that was it.
Black Ops innovated, bro.
And then just you could wager them in gun game and all the party modes, and you used that to like unlock camos and attachments. It was like a whole marketplace. It was literally an internal marketplace, and it was amazing. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then zombies. Like, Black Ops 1 zombies, if Chronicles never released for BO3, Black Ops 1 zombies would be the best zombies.
I still agree with that statement. It's facts. It's crazy how much shade people give BO1 zombies now, but I honestly think it's because Chronicles exists, right? And it definitely does some maps better, like Moon, for example. Like Moon just looks incredible, obviously opposed to the BO1 version, but I do have to agree, BO1 still is probably my favorite overall COD game for every aspect. Like, it is unbeatable.
And like there's no way around that. Revelations was such a bad ending to me that I think if Chronicles never released after Revelations, Black Ops 1 Zombies would still be better than BO3.
I agree. I agree.
Kino, like BO1 does not have a bad map. Even though I don't care for Moon on BO1, I still think Moon is a good map. I would just prefer it on BO3. But like just as a whole, BO1 does not have a bad zombies map.
It's true. And it's true.
Like every BO1 map is A tier or above. Every single one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
They're so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my BO1 rant or just
like I think obviously some are less playable, like Shang, for example. I don't really like going back to that one, but they're still so iconic comparatively to what we get nowadays, where it's just like facility, or just like here's a facility with a couple boats on it, you know? Like okay.
Well, I think BO1 was really good. And I think it's better than it. But here's one that I think a lot of people are going to think is controversial. I put MW3 in C.
Whoa.
I put it at the top of C.
Dang.
I did not care for MW3.
Wow.
I enjoyed the campaign. I think it was the worst out of the three. I was playing Black Ops still. I was playing year 2 of Black Ops.
Yeah.
I was not really playing MW3 that much.
No, granted, I did play a ton of MP. I think MP was what I would at least put it in B. This is probably the lowest rating I've ever seen of MW3, to be honest, because MP in this game was where it was at. I think not many people cared for the campaign of this game. It was all about like grinding Moabs, getting your specialist perks, like just grinding MP. I think this was when they released like the whole COD Elite thing with like the global world factions and all that, like clans that you could join. This was an MP game, and if you weren't fully MP, I get the C tier rating, to be honest.
Just like I said, I think the campaign, the ending of this is the worst out of the three. Out of the trilogy.
Agree. It is not the best.
The multiplayer was just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
It's mid. I think this is a mid Call of Duty game. But some people just hold this in such high regard for no reason. And I
think it's just like the competitive scene for MW3 was really peak. But again, if you weren't much of an MP fan, I agree. I did play a lot of MP. Like I got to 10th Prestige. I was grinding this game, man. So I would put it in B, but I get the C tier rating.
Like, yes, it was fun. It was still in the golden age of Call of Duty, but it's just as a game as in a whole, I thought it was mid, and I didn't really care for it.
It copied MW2.
Now, Black Ops 2, sure. I put Black Ops 2.
It's got to be S.
In between Black Ops and MW3.
Yeah.
I still think it's amazing as a whole, as a game. The entire game, I still think it's amazing.
It's crazy because like Black Ops 7 devs are saying how they're going to have like such a unique experience like BO2. And I just feel like for BO2 Zombies, trying to emulate that in BO7 is impossible because BO2 Zombies had two lead directors. We had Jimmy Zielinski making Transit, Die, Rise, and Buried. And then we had Jason Liddell making Mob of the Dead and Origins, right? And just in that regard alone, Black Ops 2 was so amazing just from the depth of the ideas that was brought to the table. And I don't think we've ever seen that in a COD Zombies game since. Not even in BO3. Like, BO2 did so much to the Zombies formula. And it's insane that we have not gone back to there. And I don't think BO7 is going to change that.
People don't remember, but MW3 had mixed reviews during its life cycle.
Yeah.
Ones were fun, but a lot of the maps sucks. Yeah, and
I agree.
Yeah,
the maps
MW3, well, it was a rushed game. Because after MW2, literally half of Infinity Ward quit. Like, half of their studio left to go start Respawn Studio, I think is what it was.
And Apex.
They went to Respawn Studio, which made Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, it's I can't completely like 100% compare the two, but if you think about
it is interesting though that like Apex Legends, probably not nowadays, but at the beginning when it first launched and Titanfall, they definitely had that like OG Modern Warfare aspect to them, but they kind of had the unfortunate aspect of releasing during the futuristic COD era. And I think that's why like maybe they felt forced to go to the future and like do stuff like that. I don't know. It's interesting.
You see the way that MW2 played, the original MW2, and how fast-paced and chaotic it was. Now think about how Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends are.
Right.
It's exactly the same. It's just in different settings. It's a different art style. It's in different settings. But the gameplay between MW2 and Apex Legends is so similar.
It is.
Just because of the studio.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
They took their perfect formula of how to make a multiplayer game and brought it to Apex Legends and Titanfall. And they're amazing games.
Yeah,
they're amazing games. So
I just think Apex is a little bit sweaty now. That's my only issue. I've not played Apex, oh my gosh, since like season 4.
Another reason why.
Since they added Loba.
It just didn't have the same feeling as MW2 did. And it's because the studio wasn't there. The game was made in like 8 months. The game was literally made in like 8 months. So for that, I'll give it to them.
I think it's pretty impressive.
Good game in 8 months. But just as a whole, I think it was mid. And now Black Ops 2, to me, the only thing that brings it lower than BO1 is because of the zombies. And so I'll start from top to bottom.
Well, and that's the other thing. Even though BO2 Zombies had the massive range of creativity, not every single idea landed, right? Like Transit and Die Rise, for example. So I totally get that. Because personally, for me, I do think BO1 is overall a much more solid zombies experience, even though BO2 had just bangers like Mob of the Dead and Origins, right? And Buried, I would even include there.
Campaign was also amazing. Just as good, if not a tad bit better than Black Ops.
Yeah.
I still think Black Ops is better, but it's literally like they're
neck and neck.
right next to each other.
Yeah.
And that just makes the two of them together just amazing. I didn't know all that
incredible,
makes a lot of sense.
great games.
MW3 felt very different, and it did a lot. Even though it had the same idea, it still had the same style of multiplayer, the same style of weapons, and the same style of kill streaks, things like that, perks. But it was made by completely different people.
Well, and they try to like appeal to zombie players with the whole MW3 survival, and it just did not work, man. I mean, survival was better than a lot of the stuff they released later on. But
completely different people.
It wasn't
Which
zombies,
it makes sense. But I still think it's not bad. I don't think MW3 is bad. But yeah, Black Ops 2, amazing story. Multiplayer, super fun. I think this and MW2, these are the greatest two multiplayers of all time. BO2 is just under BO1 for me. BO1 had the story.
But that's the other thing. I do like BO2 MP over BO1 MP. Even though I think BO1 MP is a little bit more iconic, I still just enjoy the gameplay of BO2 a lot more. Also, that was when Pick 10 was introduced, and to this day, Pick 10 is better than everything that Warzone has ever introduced. I miss it so much. I hate having like 20 different attachments that I don't care about. I miss Pick 10 so bad. I really hope for a Black Ops 2 sequel that they bring back Pick 10. I really do, but they won't.
I can.
It's Warzone. They will not.
The gameplay of BO2 was better, but the story of BO1 was better.
I agree. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, MW2 and Black Ops 2 multiplayers are literally the one-for-one way that any studio should create a multiplayer.
Exactly.
For FPS games.
Pick 10, bro.
If you were making an FPS game, you should literally just you should take every single bit of your notes and your inspirations from these two games. These two games had the most fun multiplayers anybody could ever experience.
Yeah.
Easy to get into, fun weapons, fun gameplay, amazing maps. And it had
the one thing I will say is I do think one game does better maps in terms of aesthetics, and that would actually be Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3's MP map aesthetics, like Splash and Skyjacked and like all these beautiful maps, are just like something that we have never still to this day seen in a Call of Duty franchise. So many maps today are just brown and gray and overly realistic. I miss having like BO3 maps like Micro, bro. Like those are the maps that I think Call of Duty needs to have. A colorful COD game like BO3.
The first DLC weapons, it had the Peacekeeper.
Right.
I think it was the only DLC.
$2 camos,
first
baby.
DLC weapons.
Yeah.
The camos.
Yeah.
$1.99 camos, by the way.
$2 camos.
$1.99 to buy a camo, and you could use that camo on every single gun. It's not like how it is now where you have to spend $25 on a weapon skin, and it literally is only for one freaking gun.
So
you
true.
paid $2, and you could have a bacon wrap, and you could use it on every gun. Dude.
I would prefer $2 camos, or even if they buff, let's say they just made it $20 for every single camo, right? Over what we're getting today with like Beavis and Butthead and like American Dad in Call of Duty. Like, what is going on?
What has Call of Duty turned into?
I know.
What has Call of Duty freaking turned into? But the zombies for me is just what killed it. Yes, Mob of the Dead, Buried, and Origins exist, but I cannot live in a world where I don't remember how Transit and Die Rise made me feel.
True.
And that's why BO2.
No, it's crazy because like with Transit being leaked in BO7, right? So many people on Twitter are looking back on Transit with rose-tinted glasses. And it's like when that map first dropped, it almost killed my love for COD Zombies. Like it was that bad of a map. It was such a massive learning curve for many people to play that map, especially from a map like Moon or Shangri-La to Transit. Like, yeah, I think people don't really realize how bad Transit was when it first launched. Granted, it's a great experience co-op, right? But that's because it's bad still though, you know?
At the top for me. People can talk about the nostalgia and like, oh, well, in hindsight, it doesn't matter if Transit and Die Rise were bad.
It was
We
still
had
bad.
The other three maps.
Yeah,
But I cannot go back and just think about how I felt at the time
I agree.
playing Transit. And first off, playing Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 1 for 2 years. Playing those zombies maps for 2 years.
With
because
MW3.
I was not playing MW3 then.
Exactly.
And then loading into Black Ops 2 after being able to play all of these Black Ops 1 maps, these amazing maps that I was able to play for 2 years and did not get bored of it. Yeah. And then you're going to make me go play Transit. Or
like, I know, it's so awful. Disrespectful,
it was
bro.
Awful. It's an awful experience. And yes, you had Town. I had Town. But I would have rather... I just went back and played BO1. If I wanted to play a survival map, I had the 4 World at War maps on BO1. I didn't need to. I could play Darius.
Yeah.
I could play Shino. I could play Verrucht. All of the BO2 survival maps, I was able to play better versions of them in BO1. So yes, Town was good. I can't describe how disappointing Transit was coming off of BO1. And that's exactly how I felt. Because of the ending of Moon was the greatest zombies ending we've ever had. It was the
Honestly, I'm starting to agree with that more and more. Like, I really liked BO4's ending, but, like, going back to, like, the cultural impact of BO1's ending, like, what that felt like for the community, the speculations for the next game, bro, like, we have not had that literally since Black Ops 1 Moon. It is so true. I have to start agreeing with that opinion now.
Greatest conclusion to a zombies game we've ever had.
Yeah.
And then you throw us into Nuketown and Transit. And then not only that, you had to deal with that. I was still playing Black Ops 1, going back to playing Black Ops 1. I was getting more into multiplayer because of that zombies map. And then you release Die Rise. You make people go through all of that, and they decided to release Die Rise.
No, and that's the thing. Die Rise, when it first dropped, was bad. Like, it was almost what broke the camel's back for me of, like, I'm never playing COD Zombies again. Like, Mob of the Dead saved COD Zombies. It really did.
And that's why so many people left the Zombies community.
Yeah.
They stopped playing it. Yeah. They were getting ready for GTA 5.
Yeah,
people
didn't
care. Once Die Rise came out and the people that left the Zombies community left, a lot of them did not look back.
It's actually crazy because we are literally living in a cycle where this is happening again. Like, Black Ops 7's coming out. No one's caring about it too much, like, even with the zombies. And GTA 6 is now right around the corner. Like, we're living in a cycle, bro. What the
Because they had GTA 5 coming. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Call of Duty now, once GTA 6 drops.
Yeah, I agree.
If Call of Duty Black Ops 7 can't deliver, GTA 6 is gonna make people leave. And it's going to be the same thing that happened in BO2.
They're going to do the same thing they did with BO6. They're going to sell it off as, like, this BO2 sequel. It's going to be like BO2. And then 5 months in, we're going to get Family Guy skins, bro. I'm going to be able to play as Peter Griffin, man. It's just like, what the heck, man?
And Ghost. People played BO2. They started playing GTA 5. Who the hell went back and played Ghost? After GTA 5 launched, who was playing Ghost? Yeah. And it's going to be the same thing.
I agree. I think Ghost was such a great, like, precursor to what we're about to see. Like, Black Ops 7 is not going to deliver. And I think most people know that by now.
Black Ops 7 has to convince people is for sure make or break. Yes, 100%.
It's not going to deliver,
It has to make sure that people are still interested in Call of Duty.
Dude, like, GTA 6 budget is going to be the highest budget of any entertainment franchise ever. Like, it's going to be way better than Black Ops 7 will ever be just because of the budget alone, man.
After GTA 6 launches. Whatever the next Call of Duty that's coming after BO7, whether it's Advanced Warfare 2 or I don't even know who's making the next one.
It's not Treyarch.
I don't even know who's making the next game. But it's going to fail. If Black Ops 7 doesn't deliver, the next Call of Duty game is going to be one of the worst Call of Duties of all time.
I'm thinking it's either going to be AW2 or Modern Warfare 4. And, yeah, it's going to flop hard.
On that note, Black Ops 2 is still great. I love Black Ops 2. But Transit and Die Rise are the reason why it's not above Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
That's it. But now, we're going to move on to This was the first dark age of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
For anybody that was not around in 2013, this was the start of the first dark age that we had. And honestly, this game is most of the reason that we are here where we are now with Call of Duties.
That's true.
People don't realize that. But Call of Duty Ghosts set Call of Duty back so much from where they were. And that's why I think it is an F tier game.
Honestly, it's fair. Even though there are good aspects to the game, Ghosts is, like, the biggest flop of the franchise because of what came before it. I fully have to agree with that. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Ghosts rated higher than like a B tier in any tier list I've seen. It was bad, man.
It is garbage.
Yeah.
Absolutely garbage. Campaign was terrible.
It was not it.
People want to talk about the Ghost campaign, and they think that it was good.
I just watched a whole video talking about it. And, like, sure, it was innovative for a lot of aspects of it, but even then, a lot of it was taken from the OG Modern Warfare campaign. So it wasn't as incredible as I think some people think it is.
I haven't played it recently.
Yeah.
They just remember playing it when they were younger, and they thought it was good. F tier 100%, yes. It's awful. That campaign was some of the corniest, cheesiest, just no personality, no redeemable characters, none of it. And was literally copying missions and cutscenes from other Call of Duty games. Yeah, like literally, there's one cutscene. I don't remember where it is. I can probably find it. There was one cutscene in Ghost that was literally part of the MW2 cutscenes, and it was a 1-for-1 animation. Let me see if I can let me see if I can find it. This cutscene right here from Ghost is literally the exact same thing from MW2.
It's kindly sent to me by this other small YouTuber.
Dude, just look how bad it is.
Basically, an awesome thing that I spotted is that the Modern Warfare 2...
It's actually insane that, like, they thought no one would catch on to this.
The cutscene is
like, look at that.
Bro, like, are we serious?
You've got the exact same movements from Modern Warfare 2 imported into Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah.
Like, are we serious?
But the thing is like, nowadays, like, if they did this, I don't even think it would be as big of a deal, you know? It's kind of sad. Studio.
You're telling me and this is the first mission of the game. This is the first thing that you see. This is the first thing that you see when you start the Call of Duty Ghost campaign. And you're telling me that they just literally ripped the MW2 campaign ending.
And
they put it out here and said, you know what, this is good. Like, how do you justify that?
No, that's not right.
Not only that, like I said, the characters were terrible. Characters were
like, also Ghost started introducing like too many perks, and I feel like that system kind of evolved into what we have now with too many attachments with the Warzone system, and I just hate it. Like, Ghost started a lot of bad things that Call of Duty still integrates into the game, and honestly, I agree in that regard. It does make me like the game less. I do think Extinction did have some good elements to it, like some good boss fights, even some good map layouts, good map mechanics, but it just overall was a net negative for COD.
Non-redeemable. You're left on a cliffhanger. That is probably the reason why people actually care about this campaign, just because it was left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But we're never going to get we're not going to solve the story. Like,
no.
This is...
And also, I think this game, even though I always say, like, COD should just make a new franchise, it's crazy because I think this game proved that Call of Duty can't move away from Modern Warfare and Black Ops. You know, maybe they can do another Advanced Warfare or another Infinite Warfare, but I don't think they'll ever be able to move away from Black Ops and Modern Warfare franchise. Like, I genuinely believe we see a day where Black Ops and Modern Warfare will have 10 to 20 iterations in the next 10 to 20 years.
Never going to be a thing again. And multiplayer, trash.
Yeah, MP
trash.
Not it.
Awful. Honey Badger was good. I just finished
some interesting weapons campaign. Like the Ripper.
Okay, if you please tell me if you think, after just replaying it, do you genuinely think it is a good campaign?
No.
And if you do, I would love to know your reason why.
No, I think like Cold War had a better campaign than Ghost. Even Black Ops 6 did.
Because I can't. The Honey Badger was cool. Some of the guns were nice, or they were unique.
The SC-2010 wasn't bad.
Space mission and underwater mission are cool. See, that I can agree with, but I just can't get past how terrible the characters are. I do think that the space mission and the underwater mission,
the variety wasn't as good as the older games, though.
Really got in a Call of Duty, I don't think, until that time where like you're actually fighting underwater,
right,
in space. So I think that was good. But the reason why I don't really care for it is because Infinite Warfare did it better. Yeah. I don't know if you've played the Infinite Warfare campaign before, but underwater.
they actually decided to hire some Hollywood writers, which is why I think that campaign has aged much better than Ghosts, for sure. And even Advanced Warfare's. Like, Advanced Warfare's was definitely better than Ghosts, but yeah, I think IW's campaign takes the cake here.
And space, like fighting in space, was done perfectly.
Yeah.
It was done perfectly in Infinite Warfare.
I agree.
Felt a lot like a wannabe Modern Warfare game sometimes, and that's exactly what it was. They didn't make MW4 like people wanted and people expected. They created Ghost, but it was literally just a copy and paste of a Modern Warfare game with worse characters. So yeah, I don't know.
It's true.
That was
like they copy and pasted MW2 to MW3, and they hard copy and pasted MW2 and 3 to Ghosts, and I think by then people are like, nah.
Good.
It's not going to work.
But then multiplayer was not good. I want to show you guys something funny. Yeah, the perk list right here.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. Yeah. This is what has destroyed Call of Duty, bro. Like, the overabundance of selections. Just look at the screen, bro. Like, this is what Warzone Attachments is now.
Pick 3. Pick 3 of these. Pick 3.
Like, what are we doing, bro?
I agree, man.
What a joke.
Yeah,
it was literal
bad.
Joke.
The gameplay was not fun.
Overabundance of selection doesn't always mean it's a better game. You know,
god awful. There was like 2 good maps in the entire game. It was dude, it literally just hurts my head thinking about this game. All right,
Ghost was
and
bad.
Extinction. Don't even talk to me about Extinction. Literally, Extinction was just.
I think I've definitely like grown a soft heart for Extinction over the years, just because there's certain elements that the game did well. But again, like I said, overall a net negative. Advanced Warfare was better than this game. Most games were better than this game. I would say up until we get into like the Modern Warfare reboot, like MW2 and MW3. MW2 I'd probably put in F tier as well.
Have a nice day.
It is a terrible game.
Just move on. Have a nice day. Call of Duty Ghost. You're staying in F. Advanced Warfare. For me, the zombies brought Advanced Warfare down really low for me.
Yeah,
as a game in a whole, I think it was decent. I think it was okay. I'm not somebody who hates jetpacks. I actually really like jetpack Call of Duty.
I like jetpacks, but I did not like the way it was in Advanced Warfare. It actually hurts my head to play that game.
I think it adds a skill gap, but it's still fun. It's still something that you can learn. So, with that being said, I put Advanced Warfare in B.
That's
it's gonna
pretty
be
high
at the
rating.
end, like the back half of B, but I put Advanced Warfare in B.
Honestly, like I think I'd put AW in C or D, just because AW is the worst replayable zombies mode to this day. Exo Zombies is garbage. It is by far the worst zombies mode to this day still, I think. And MP was all right, but also was a pay-to-win game, right? Campaign, it was just kind of, this is where like COD also started introducing microtransactions, right? I gotta rate it lower and lower as the years go by, just because of how much this game and Ghost really destroyed the future of the franchise.
And I know that's probably the hottest take I've ever had. to the things that I talk about, this is probably the hottest take that I've had.
I agree.
But the campaign in Advanced Warfare, I think, is really good.
Way better than Ghost.
It's not even really the story. I think that the gameplay and just the learning, the exo mechanics and the advanced movement mechanics was done really well in the campaign.
I like the press F to pay respects, man. That's all I remember from the campaign. And Kevin Spacey, I guess, but that was it.
And I don't know if if you guys knew this, but the press F to pay respect. There it is. Press F to pay respect.
See, like, it's so sad how you go from, like, all these incredible stories and all AW gets for the campaign is press F to pay respects. That's all everybody remembers.
Literally came from this game, from this campaign. That is literally...
That's not right,
the
man.
oldest meme in some of our lifetime, and it came from Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
11-year-old meme, man.
And
crazy.
Multiplayer, I think the multiplayer was really fun on Advanced Warfare. The exosuits were clunky. It was done better in
BO3.
the next two advanced movement
and
games.
IW, but BO3 I think did it best.
Xbox 360, so I got X to pay respect. I also played it on Xbox 360, and the Xbox 360 version is terrible.
Yeah.
Is awful. It's so bad.
Dude, this is also when last gen started to creep up into the corner, man.
I didn't get a PS4 until 2015. It was like it was I got Advanced Warfare when I got a PS4, but I was playing on Xbox 360 for like half.
Dude, yeah, I made the worst decision buying an Xbox One for Ghosts and AW, and I was like, dog, this is not it. And as soon as I got a PS4, I was like, yeah, this makes sense.
The life cycle, because I got a PS4 for Black Ops 3. But yeah, multiplayer was super fun to me. If the look worse than BO1, yes, dude, the graphics were so bad.
It was not
and like
good.
I didn't realize it when I was younger, but like going back and looking at them, it was so bad. Yeah, multiplayer was super fun. Playing like Search and Destroy competitive game modes was also really enjoyable. The guns, the loot boxes is what gets it for me too. The loot boxes were eventually done better in other Call of Duty games after that.
It's crazy because like so many people dog on BO3 for loot boxes. While yes, I think they were bad, they were nowhere near as bad as AW. I feel like people that complain about BO3's loot boxes never played AW.
Which that's why I can't knock it too much, because it was the first. It was the first jetpack game. It was the first game to have the loot box system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, it was the worst out of all of them, but everything was an improvement from it most of the time. But what really is going to keep it down here at the end of B is Exo Zombies.
Exo
Zombies
trash.
to me was such a sad and sorry excuse for what zombie players wanted.
Yeah, after 10 years, it is still, like, I think most people agree, the worst zombies mode Call of Duty's ever released. And you know it was rushed because the first map came with DLC 1. That has never happened. Usually every zombies game has had a launch title in the game. And this game technically had that riot-like mode, the little teaser of zombies on the game, but it was terrible. It was
especially
not worth
after
it.
Extinction.
Yeah.
So, okay. This game was in development in 2011. They started development on this game in 2011.
3-year
because
dev
this is what
time.
started the first 3
I
year
didn't know
life
that.
cycle for Call of Duties. After Sledgehammer Games created MW3, because Infinity Ward, literally they were gone. That game started a gambling addiction for young gamers. No, literally.
That's why, to me, like, AW's aged poorly just because we're still suffering the consequences from this game. And it's been 10 years.
The CSGO cases and supply drops.
Like, listen, at least on CS, you can actually sell things. Like, Call of Duty has never actually added in a marketplace for skins and stuff. This is something I wanted in BO3. This is something I wanted in BO4. They'll never do it because if there's a marketplace, it means that liquidity is escaping from the Activision stockholders, right? And they'll never, ever, ever introduce a system like that. And I don't think they will until Call of Duty actually comes to the point of full-on death, where they just release one title called Call of Duty, and they have every single thing from all the older titles in it, and that's, I think, when they'll actually release a CSGO type marketplace. Will that ever happen, though, in the next 10 years? Probably not. They're going to milk it until absolute death.
Was literally a gambling addiction for children. But yeah, so once Sledgehammer Games finished making MW3, they started development on Advanced Warfare. Right. And in 2011, without seeing Ghost yet or BO3 or BO2, they didn't really know what they were going for. I kind of skipped this one because I couldn't get into zombies and I didn't give the multiplayer a chance.
Well, the other issue is, like, if you didn't buy... This is also when you had to buy DLC. If you couldn't buy the DLC, you couldn't play zombies. That is so dumb, bro.
I can see where people just didn't really do the multiplayer just because it was such a new thing that they just skipped out on it because it was just people just didn't really like it. They didn't care for it. But I think if the servers, which if you have a PC, you can download S1X, which is the client for Advanced Warfare,
right.
And you can play it. It's with bots, but like going through and playing and feeling the movement of the Advanced Warfare system, I think it was really good. But yeah, the zombies was just such a sorry excuse for a zombies mode. Dude, it hurt. It genuinely hurt me. After coming off of Ghosts, Like it was the same thing.
Yeah, it made people appreciate BO2 a lot more. Even though people didn't appreciate BO2 after BO1, after Advanced Warfare, people were like, "Oh yeah, maybe BO2 isn't too bad." This always happens with COD, man.
Like with Black Ops for me. It's like I was playing Black Ops 2 for 2 years, 3 years. This game was the reason. So 2015.
But that effect, like people always say that effect works. It doesn't work because I'm not going back and playing Exo Zombies for years and years because the future titles are worse. I mean, after AW, we had BO3. You know what I mean? Like BO3 was infinitely better than Exo Zombies.
When they released the first, which because also you couldn't get the zombies without paying for DLC. There was no launch zombies map. There was no zombies map that launched day one with the game. DLC 1, when DLC 1 came out with Advanced Warfare, that was when you got Outbreak. Bro, I thought the same thing. It hurt. Yep. It was painful. And especially because you still had to pay for DLC back then. Like, imagine spending $15 on a DLC and you got infection. This game was the reason why I
That should be illegal, man.
bought a
Should
PC.
be a crime.
I got a dookie, absolutely garbage, what's it called?
That's just so
like
bad.
the Dell Optiplex PC, whatever they were,
Yeah.
in 2014, 2015, and I put like I got a
Oh my
GTX
gosh.
970
Class,
and put it in
man.
a old ass like desktop.
Dude, this was top of the line. I remember when my graphics card was a 970, man. Top of the line at one point, bro.
And
Now we have 50 series cards, bro. And probably the next 5-10 years is going to be like even double that.
I started playing custom zombies. That was like
Right.
while Advanced Warfare was out, I literally went and got a PC.
Because this was also at the time during YouTube where people were playing custom World at War zombies. And that was such a peak time, man. That was even before customs came out for BO3. Because think about it, this was 2014. Customs for BO3 wouldn't come out for another 3 years until this point. So everyone that was hardcore zombies was on custom World at War on PC, man. What a time.
So I could play
What a
World
time.
at War custom zombies because
Yeah.
I just did not want to play Advanced Warfare. So that for me is why it's at the
Crazy.
bottom of B. Fun multiplayer, good campaign, terrible zombies. Terrible zombies. Okay. Now
Here it is, man.
Now we're
the man,
into
the myth,
to
the
me,
legend.
This is the peak. This is the absolute peak of Call of Duty multiplayer, Call of Duty zombies.
Not campaign, though.
And it's not just because of the zombies.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people would even just put this as their favorite Call of Duty just based off the zombies.
I mean, for zombies, it's always the number one game for me. I don't think, especially nowadays with like the whole Warzone thing, Black Ops 3 will never be beat. People are still playing customs on BO3 to this day, and people are still watching to this day. This game is turning 10 years old this year. You know, Black Ops 3 has stood the test of time. It is the Call of Duty for zombies at this point. But MP was also great on this game. Like I said, the most visually aesthetic MP we've ever had. And I really would love a game like BO3's MP, but I doubt we'll ever get one, you know? And it is unfortunate that the worst thing about this is the campaign. I actually just recently played it on the hardest difficulty, and it doesn't hold up well in terms of the story, but the gameplay was interesting. There was a lot of interesting gameplay aspects to it, you know? It's just too bad that Nightmares also, the Zombies campaign was terrible. Dead Ops was fun, though.
I can agree with, but I have more about BO3 than just the zombies. One, the campaign was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, I don't want to say it was it was bad in the sense of the story. The
Yeah.
story was bad, but it was still a playable campaign.
It was much more enjoyable, I would say, on a gameplay aspect than a lot of the campaigns came before it. Like, you had a lot of variety. It really expanded on, like, BO2's variety system in terms of the gameplay. It's just the story was terrible. I mean, Blundell did not focus his story elements on the game at all.
Still a fully
was all
fledged
zombies.
out campaign for a Call of Duty game.
It's
You
true.
can't say that about newer Call of Duties now.
That's very true. Yeah.
Like, Black Ops 4 didn't have a campaign.
MW3's campaign was like 3.5 hours. So, and it had terrible gameplay aspects to it.
Vanguard, that campaign, what was even that campaign?
Exactly.
MW2, The new MW2 was the same way. World War II, I think, is the opposite, where the story is what carried and the gameplay was not good.
Exactly.
They focused more on the story than the actual gameplay itself. What was really wrong with BO3's campaign other than the fact that the story didn't line up after BO2? That's literally the only problem that it has.
Yeah.
And sure,
I think it's interesting because a lot of people have enjoyed, even myself, have enjoyed the story afterwards. But that was the main issue, is that the story had nothing to do with tie-ins from BO2, which is why everybody, including myself, was upset about that.
Train go boom, funny, haha, whatever. But I still think it was a fully fledged out playable campaign.
Yeah.
So I don't let that determine if
The
Black
whole
Ops 3 is
game.
my favorite or not.
True.
If it's the best. Multiplayer, I think this is the most fun Call of Duty multiplayer ever. I could just I was wanting to get home from school so bad every single day because I knew I had an amazing multiplayer I could play and an amazing zombies.
The other thing is, I agree with that because I dropped off hard on MP after MW3. I barely played Ghosts or AW's multiplayer experience because I just didn't enjoy them. And it's true, I actually got close to 10th Prestige on MP in BO3, which is wild because I actually enjoyed the MP enough to do so. So I think so many people dog on BO3 MP just because of loot boxes and stuff, but it was not as game-breaking as AW. That's what I mean. I feel like so many of the people that do that did not play Advanced Warfare.
You can't say that about MW2 because you didn't have zombies.
Yeah.
You couldn't really say that about BO2 at the start of the game.
Very
because,
true.
yes, you had a really, really fun multiplayer, but you had to wait until like April to get Mob of the Dead. For almost half of the game's life cycle, all I wanted to play was multiplayer. But with Black Ops 3, when I tell you I was skipping school for DLC releases. I was skipping Fridays for double XP weekends.
Bro, Black Ops 3 was my grad year. And this was the game that literally catapulted every single Zombies YouTuber that you know today. It's crazy because modern day Twitter dogs on this game so much. But it's just they don't even really realize what this game did. If it wasn't for Black Ops 3, you would not have Mr. Rothwaffles. You would not have a Noah J456. Even though I know he started in BO2. Mr. Dolly JD was one of the OGs. He started I think in BO1. So again, BO3 catapulted so much of the Zombies community. I think so many people don't realize the cultural impact of what this game did. Maybe not for the whole of gaming like MW2 did, but definitely at least for the Zombies community. This game started something that was unparalleled. We'll never see it again, I think.
And the summer of 2016 was literally the greatest time of my life. That stretch. That was when I created my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I created my YouTube channel in 2015 doing Black Ops 3 stuff. My first YouTube channel. I was that was what I loved that game so much from the start. The guns are great. Yes, the supply drops are still in the game, but I think it did it a little bit better than Advanced
Way
Warfare.
better.
It's
not a pay-to-win game.
But the game that you didn't need them like you did in Advanced Warfare.
I hear people say that it's still pay to win because the better guns were locked away, but I don't agree with that. BO3 had such a nuance with the movement in and of itself that you didn't need the DLC weapons to win. You could find ways to get around it, and also you could actually just play the game more and more to eventually unlock it. You didn't have to ever pay, which was, I think, the greatest aspect of the game.
Stat changing variants. Yes, there was the DLC weapons that some of them were better than the base variants.
True.
But VMP, Kuda, Locust, HVK,
iconic
Man of War,
weapons, man.
Dingo, KRM, Brecci, Haymaker, all of those base variant guns, those base guns in the game, were still amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, the DLC weapons were good. You had people that would spam the the Olympia when it came out. That was the shotgun spam. You had the the MSMC, that was really good.
Right.
Even the M1911, when they brought that back, it had an uncapped fire rate, so people were just spamming. That was the only secondary people would run. The Marshals, dude. The Marshals,
Marshals,
so
man.
freaking good.
Yeah, they were
super fun
great.
maps, dude. sitting here talking about this makes me want to go play BO3 multiplayer right now.
True.
Like, I literally want to go play the Black Ops 3 multiplayer. This is the best jetpack game. This is the best mechanics for jetpacks. It's awesome.
Yeah.
DLC maps were good.
Yeah, it's better than IW. It's crazy because like BO3 in a way doesn't even really feel like a futuristic game. It just feels like a fantasy game in a lot of ways.
It's an S tier multiplayer. It's an S tier multiplayer. And then not only that, but then you had freaking Black Ops 3 zombies. So I would get home from school, I'd sit there and I'd play multiplayer. I'd go for dark matter, camos. One more thing, Specialist was a good addition too. I like the Specialist.
Same.
Some of them were.
And the other thing is BO3's MP was so good that I actually wanted to get dark matter. You know, nowadays it's like they separate it between each of the modes, and it's like I don't even really want to play the MP to get certain camos. You know,
kind of overused, like overpowered, overused, but that's just people finding the meta. That's just what people do. BO3
True.
multiplayer followed up BO2.
I like Specialists. I think people complain about it too
agree.
much.
I 100% agree. Like, going from... If you were a multiplayer guy and you were somebody who was not ignorant to jetpacks and you gave it a chance, going from BO2 multiplayer to BO3 was such an amazing time.
I agree.
So much fun.
It was such an
So going
advancement.
through all the multiplayer, it was awesome. I'd get on multiplayer, grind for camos, get dark matter, level up, try to hit master prestige.
And the Specialists had identity too. That's a huge thing because IW really did not do a good job with that.
And then as soon as I'd get done with that, I was immediately going to play Shadows of Evil. Or I was immediately going to play the Giant.
The days,
and
man.
grind for levels on there.
Yeah.
Imagine you got to sit there and play Black Ops 3 multiplayer. You had so much fun. You were using the CUDA, long barrel, high caliber, fast mags with a freaking rapid fire. You played that for like 3 or 4 hours. You got to play on maps like, was it Fringe? Fringe was good. You had Nuketown.
All the BO3 maps were class.
Infection. I can't remember the names of them, but like the maps were so good. You played that for a couple of hours.
Vac Combine,
and then you
man.
got to go hop on in Shadows of Evil. Like, what else would you want? What else would you want? What else would you want? And then you had DLC 1. You got to play Splash. Dude, do y'all remember Splash? The multiplayer map?
I remember playing that map at Treyarch, and I just couldn't believe that it was a multiplayer map. Like, and it's crazy because that then got remastered in customs to a zombies map called Water Park, which is also an incredible zombies map. Definitely controversial, but still an incredible zombies map.
A freaking Water Park map?
Yeah.
Dude, it's so fun.
It's a great map.
So fun. And then after that, you got to go play Drak. Zetsubo was a dud at first.
It was. The launch was bad.
Just because I'm basing it off of, like, in the game's life cycle as well. Zetsubo kind of flopped. It's an amazing map now. We just needed a couple years to let it sit and, like, us get used to it.
Again, everybody that's seen a couple of my other previous videos knows that was the map they introduced the BO4 streaming system into zombies, which is why that map was just unplayable at launch. It really was.
But at the time, Zetsubo was not good. Just the launch was not good, and a lot of people even were like, yeah, Zetsubo's just as bad as Transit is, which I don't agree with, but some people at that time were like, yeah, Zetsubo is literally like right next to Transit is like the worst map of all
Which
time.
is crazy.
Dude. And then you got Garad Crovy in the summer of 2016 at
peak.
the launch of the Z House. So I'm telling you guys.
Peak.
GK perfect summer map, literally.
Yeah.
It was literally perfect. You could not have released Garad Crovy at a better time.
I'll never forget that moment when GK released. It was still to this day the reason why it's my #1 favorite map. The peak of sentiment through and through, man.
Then we got to watch the Z House all summer. The content on YouTube was literally like
peak.
2016 was not just peak Call of Duty. It was peak YouTube. It was peak
life.
Like literally.
Shout out the Smith Plays.
Who said it? I think it was the Smith Plays.
Yeah.
They said that Z House won like that time, 2016.
It's crazy. I still go on TikTok, right? And I see people like glorifying 2016 summer. Like so many people look back at that year as just the peak. And it really was in so many ways. I think some people weren't like old enough maybe to like understand that. But everything was just peak in 2016, man. That was a great, great year. And I hope we get one of those years again in the 2020s.
Summer was the peak of the earth.
Peak of the earth.
Peak of the earth. Like, nobody was having a bad time in 2016.
No, man.
Except for Harambe.
Yeah.
Harambe was the only one that had a bad time.
But that was 2015, though.
But we got the meme, though. We got the meme.
That's true.
We got one of the greatest memes of all time. But there was also the fall. Revelations was underwhelming for me, but then they released Zombies Chronicles, and I was like, dude, it didn't matter. It did not matter.
It's crazy that they released that during the life cycle of IW, and many people, including myself, argue that actually fully killed the game. Because I think at that point, that was when I think Shaolin Shuffle was out, and then they only had to do DLC 3 and 4, and that was just what put the coffin in the game, man.
If Revelations was not as good as it should
not
have
it.
been. They released Zombies Chronicles as it was the first DLC 5 in Call of Duty
hype.
history.
It was
a meme.
It was a joke. I always clowned on people that said it would ever happen, and it did. It was crazy
for so long.
Yeah.
DLC 5 in Call of Duty, and we actually got it in Black Ops 3, and it was
that solidifies its GOAT status.
Selling DLC of all time for a Call of Duty Zombies mode. It's amazing. It's amazing. And not only the main 3, like the campaign, the multiplayer, and the zombies. Like, think about all the side content that you had in BO3 too. You had Nightmare, which was the zombie.
Even though it was bad, right? It was fun to play with friends, because that was the other thing. BO3 was a co-op campaign. We haven't had co-op campaigns literally at that point since World at War. And even today, we don't get co-op campaigns all the time.
Zombies version of the campaign, it was literally a whole campaign with zombies. You had free run. I really wish they would have took advantage of free run and added more maps, but
free run was great.
But it was still a fun little side mode. Dead Ops Arcade 3, the first person Dead Ops.
Dead Ops Arcade 2.
Or that was Dead Ops Arcade 2.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, that 2.
The Cold War had DOA 3, which was, in my opinion, still just as good. Dead Ops never misses.
Dead Ops Arcade 2, it was fun. I mean, like, you had so much side content. Like, you couldn't get bored playing Black Ops 3. You couldn't.
Yeah.
2016 was the time, because you know how people talk about nowadays, like, nobody knows gaming, like, because everybody's rotation of games is just either Call of Duty, 2K, or GTA, or Fortnite. Like, that's the 4 games that everybody plays. It's a Call of Duty game, a sports game, GTA 5, or Fortnite. It's the only games that people play.
Yeah. I saw a joke on that on Twitter. Like, people don't like games unless you're shooting a gun or hitting a ball.
2016, if your gaming rotation was Call of Duty, NBA 2K 16, Madden 16, what other games? GTA 5 was still peak. Like, if those were the games you were rotating through, it was perfectly
rotation.
acceptable.
Yeah, peak rotation, man.
Nobody would say anything to you if the only thing that you played in 2016 was Call of Duty, 2K, and GTA.
I think nowadays, like, gaming rotation is not as cyclical as it was back then. Like, everybody's gaming a completely different game as opposed to anyone else. And I think that's why a lot of the original community feels so divided.
They were amazing games. They were made amazingly back then.
Yeah.
And they're not anymore. Now, if those are the 4 games that you play, you're looked at as a weirdo. So
True.
Black
Very
Ops 3.
true, bro.
I could literally sit here, and I probably have sat here and talked for 30 minutes just about Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
I could sit here and talk about Black Ops 3 for 4 hours.
Same
but
here,
moving on, Infinite Warfare. I think of it kind of the same way as I do Advanced Warfare, where, I think Infinite Warfare was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, because...
But I agree, because, like, Lee Ross cooked with IW Zombies. There's a lot of improvements IW Zombies did over BO3, even. Like, Spaceland was a better map than Revelations. So many people disagree with that, even to this day. But I have to spit facts here, right? It's just, campaign, even though it was great, I think it was just, like, the futuristic fatigue. Most disliked trailer of all time. right? MP fan, I did not enjoy the MP at all on IW, to be honest. It was not that great. But for a campaign, if you're a campaign player and a zombies player, IW hit well with that.
At this point, everybody was just tired of the jetpacks. They were tired of the futuristic. And so it never really stood a chance.
Yeah, it's true.
As soon as Infinite Warfare was announced, they didn't even need to see a trailer. Once they heard the words Infinite Warfare, they were just like, we're literally going into 3050. And so people just literally it's the most disliked game trailer on YouTube. It might still be the most disliked video on YouTube.
I think it's been surpassed now, but it is still the most disliked video game trailer of all time, which is crazy.
I don't know, but it's up there. It is up there. I think YouTube Rewind 2018 is the worst one. But anyways, it was doomed from the start because everybody was tired of the futuristic. And it's kind of the Infinity Ward suffered the same problem as they did with Ghost. When they were in the development of it, they didn't know people were going to get tired of that genre. So it just kind of screwed them over. They couldn't scrap the game. But the thing is that
they knew it was so bad they had to release MWR. Like, that was something I've never seen Call of Duty do, where they literally had to do an old remaster just to release this game, which is really bad. I think just because of that, like, this game should be below B or C even, because we've never had that happen, even to this day, you know?
You go back and play it. The campaign was phenomenal. The campaign was probably one of the best Call of Duty campaigns we have ever seen. And then the multiplayer was mid. It was okay.
It was not good.
It was a rip-off of BO3.
It was a rip-off of BO3 and done worse. Maps were done worse. They were bland. Specialists were done worse. They had no identity, right? Like, MP, I think, was actually the weakest part of this game, which is why not many people enjoyed IW, because most casual COD fans are either MP or Warzone today. And back then, it was only MP. And I remember even playing the MP at COD XP, and it was just really mid.
With the specialists and all that stuff.
It was not that fun.
It still had the stat-changing weapon variants. The maps were not really great, but it was still fun. It's still, you could go back and play it and it was still fun. And then Zombies, I think, is underrated for Infinite Warfare.
Very underrated. Yeah.
The only bad Infinite Warfare maps that I have are Attack of the Radioactive Thing and Beast from Beyond.
Yeah. No, it's true. I've actually learned to like Shaolin over time, because that round 100 I just did recently, and it's fun. It's a fun map.
I think that Zombies in Spaceland, Raven the Redwoods, and Shaolin Shuffle, I think those are good maps. Spaceland is literally one of the greatest. It's top 5 Zombies map of all time. Raven the Redwoods is good, but because it came after Spaceland, it just was not going to be as good. And then Shaolin's pretty good. Spaceland might be the best zombie. If you told me that Zombies in Spaceland is your favorite Zombies map, I would not argue with you. I wouldn't.
Like, I always remember there was 3 months back-to-back where we got GK, Revelations, and Spaceland. That was such a peak time in the Zombies community, man.
Because I can 100% understand it. That's the reason why it's in B for me. A lot of people put this in F, which, if you're a multiplayer person, I can understand. If that's all you play is multiplayer, put it in F, I agree. But I still think that the campaign carries this game.
Yeah, true.
And the Zombies is holding a little bit of it too. But then we move on to a game that I absolutely despise.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it in F.
Thank you, Activision, for sending me this game, bro. I never bought it. Like, World War II is not as bad as Exo Zombies, but it's definitely the second worst. It's not. I'm going to
put it in the bottom of D.
Great.
I hate Call of Duty World War II. And people are, once again,
I hate it more and more, especially because of Vanguard, and it does such a disservice to the OG goated World War II game, which is World at War.
It's going to be the whole, like, the rose-tinted glasses are going to get to them.
Yeah.
Because the Call of Duty World War II that they remember was 6 months after the game launched.
True.
If you were playing Call of Duty World War II between launch and the first 6 months of the game, it was absolutely unplayable.
Well, here's the other thing. They had to literally re-update MP to get people to play it, and that's when people started enjoying it. However, I gotta say, most people at this point were already well into Fortnite's life cycle, because this was when Fortnite came out. I was not playing COD World War II. I'll tell you that, man. Most people in the world were playing Fortnite. This was when OG Season 1 to 4, I think, came out.
It was awful. It was absolutely terrible. And then Fortnite came out.
Exactly.
Fortnite Battle Royale came out.
That's what buried this game.
I think in September. Didn't really get big until around the end of 2017, end of the year.
Yeah.
But Fortnite blew up in 2018 during this game's life cycle, and there was literally no saving it.
Yeah.
The campaign was mid. Once again, they focused on the story, and the gameplay itself was not good. And the story was still pretty corny and cheesy. Anyways, multiplayer after the 6-month patch where they did like a rehaul, was good. It was fun, but you're not going to change how I feel about those first 6 months of that game. And then I started playing Fortnite. And
That's what I mean.
I had no reason to go back.
Yeah, I agree. Most people never went back, including myself. I never went back to World War II. I was just like, bro, give me the next game. Because after this, it was BO4. And this was such a huge lead up, especially after the success of BO3. So many people were excited for this.
And then it was the same thing with zombies. I played Final Reich. I played
Final Reich's
Ghost in
great.
House. I thought
Yeah.
they were fun.
The launch
really liked
experience was
Final
great. The DLCs
But
were not.
As soon as the Darkest Shore came out,
Yeah.
and I played that map, oh my god, dude. I literally was just like, no. And I stopped playing.
Yeah.
I moved on to Fortnite, and I was literally only playing Fortnite. It was bad. It was really bad. And then the DLC just did not make it any better.
No, it got
Darkest
worse.
Shore, then what was after that? The Shadowed Throne.
See, I think some people like Shadow Throne, but it was coming out at a point where Fortnite was just killing it, and everybody was playing that game. Fortnite was just doing so well. I just didn't enjoy Shadow Throne. I played it a couple times.
The Tortured Path and the Frozen Dawn. What were they thinking when they made the Darkest Shore? I genuinely couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. But whatever it was not good. It was not good.
No,
So yeah.
it's
World
one
War
of the
II was
worst
a
COD
D
games.
for me.
Same thing with
Decent
Ghosts.
decent multiplayer after the 6-month patch, but before that, get it out of my face. All right,
It's
Black
still
Ops 4.
one of the
Black
worst
Ops 4 is
CODs, though.
hard for me because no campaign for one. I am a
Yeah.
campaign guy. I like playing Call of Duty campaigns. Oh no, I like playing Call of Duty campaigns. So, and the fact that there was
It's crazy because BO4 is now almost 7 years old. It released in 2018. And this game did so much bad for the rest of COD because I think BO4 is what brought about the Warzone cycle. It's the reason why Blundell left COD Zombies development. And looking back, they bit off more than they could chew. And I'll never forget being at the Chronicles event for BO3 and feeling like that was what they were doing, but it's like you couldn't stop them. You know, it was really tough.
not one in BO4. We're gonna disagree on this one. Oh, and I've noted a lot of my subscribers are BO4 lovers. The campaign, there wasn't one. Multiplayer, I think, was really good. I enjoyed the
loved
multiplayer.
BO4 MP.
I thought it
Yeah.
was fun. But
I literally got the max level in the beta. I loved BO4's MP. BO4's MP I think was as good as BO3, and that might be a controversial opinion, but loved BO4's MP. I loved the healing mechanic. I even like Blackout, man. I think the MP experience was solid. I think people just were too caught up with Fortnite that they didn't care, right? And it just sucks because it's like Zombies was incredible too, but it also just was competing against something that was another cultural phenomenon at the time, which was Fortnite.
launch of Black Ops 4 Zombies literally just.
But the
I
launch
went
was
back to
terrible.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
I've left Call of Duty in World War II to play Fortnite. I came back to play because I think what season was out when BO4 came out? Was it season 6, chapter 1?
I think so.
With the-
By
the
that
cube?
point,
The island floating around. I didn't like that season, so I was
Yeah.
like, dude, Black Ops 4 is gonna get me off of this game. It's gonna kill it. And then when because I played the beta of Blackout in the summer,
Blackout was
that
great.
was goated. I
Yeah.
think Blackout was really good.
I still think
about-
to this day Blackout is better than even Verdansk, Rebirth Island. I don't care. It's way better than all of that. The map is so much more interesting.
That in a minute. But then when I got the full game And when I loaded into Voyage of Despair, I said, Fortnite Season 7, here I come. And I went back to Fortnite. And I went back to freaking Fortnite. It took years, but these past couple, I've started to love BO4. It took time and updates to get it to that point, though. It's the same thing that happened with World War II.
I agree.
And to me, having that happen 2 times in a row, I couldn't do it.
It's true.
World War II did that for me already by giving me a terrible game at launch and making it better 6 months into the year, 7 months into the year, and then that happens again with BO4. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
When Fortnite was literally coming out with update after update after update and was giving us fresh content every week.
It's crazy because this was back in 2017, 2018, and COD still can't compete with that level of updates that Fortnite set all the way 7, 8 years ago now.
Fortnite was literally giving us new stuff every single week.
Yep.
Every Tuesday, a new gun, a new item, a new weapon, something. And Call of Duty couldn't keep up. They couldn't
still
keep
can't.
up with it. So when they tried to do that with BO4 and it failed, I was done. I didn't want... this was my fall off, okay? This was my fall off of Call of Duty, was Black Ops 4.
For most,
it was. When I stopped playing it.
I agree, because I know that isn't the case for most people, obviously with the Warzone era. But, like, I didn't even play Warzone really much past MW. Like, Cold War, I was fully focused into zombies. And then the last 3 years, I've just been playing a bunch of other games that are not Call of Duty, especially with, like, the MWR remastered trilogy. Like, that has got to be the worst, some of the worst 3 games, in my opinion, of all of Call of Duty, especially MW2 remastered. This has to be an F tier game.
As much as I did before. Like, I played more Advanced Warfare than I did BO4. And most of my time that I spent on BO4, if I was playing it, I was playing Blackout. I thought Blackout was fun. If it had the Warzone armor system, I would say that Blackout would be better than Warzone.
I agree. I think the looting system was bad, but in a way, I get what he's saying.
Warzone guy, I really don't care for Warzone.
Me neither.
But I thought Blackout was really fun. The only issue, other than the armor system, was the fact that it was not free to play.
Yes.
You had to buy BO4 to play Blackout.
And they literally knew that they would do that. And they knew that they would do it free to play for MW, which is so sad because really the people that killed Black Ops 4 was Activision. They knew that Warzone was already in development for MW 2019. And so they just decided, you know what, let's just bury it under with BO4. That was the last time we ever got purchasable DLCs with the Black Ops Pass. And ever since then, I feel like Call of Duty has been in a strategic nosedive from MW 2019 to Cold War to Vanguard. Like, it's just been down, down, down. It's really sad. It wasn't
separate the way Warzone was, and that's why I think most people would say that it failed. If Blackout would have been free, it would have done so much better.
Yeah.
Especially since they were trying to be in direct competition with Fortnite.
No one to blame but Activision.
Trying to compete with Fortnite, and if the first thing you do is make it to where people have to pay for your game, you've lost. You've lost. Because why would they pay for that when they can go play Fortnite for free?
Exactly.
So that was their first mistake with Blackout.
And I think Activision, was at that point thinking, we've released so many bangers that the gaming industry is going to come back because they know Call of Duty, but that was not the truth. Like, Fortnite was literally a huge gaming phenomena, arguably the biggest gaming phenomena that has ever happened yet. Like, period. I would, like, maybe GTA 6 will be that next big thing, but Fortnite to this day is still the largest gaming cultural icon phenomena that's ever existed.
But once you play it, I think it's fun. I think it's enjoyable. But yeah, BO4 Zombies, those launch maps, 9 was great. I love 9.
Love 9.
But sitting there for a week straight trying to figure out trying to do the Blood of the Dead Easter egg, no thank you.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, people were all excited for Blood. That's why when they released all the teasers for Zombies, they gave Blood the shortest teaser, like a 5-second teaser with the candlelight, right? And then all that they were trying to do was push the Chaos maps. And at that point, nobody cared about Chaos. Everybody wanted to see how the premise storyline was going to be concluded. And it just sucks because I really wish they would have fully focused on that first, do the original intended idea of the Black Ops Pass, which was a first season of all Ether and then a second season of all Chaos. Again, it is another Activision fault that they did not do that. They decided to intermingle it, and it made no sense. That was the worst part about the DLC cycle of BO4. Then they released Dead of the Night, and I was like, what are we doing? And then people only cared until at the very end with Ancient Evil, right? And then by then, Alpha Omega and Togger Tone came out, and those maps were just absolute flops for the most part, you know?
I will never get that week back. Like,
Yeah.
that was the
People
biggest
don't remember
waste
it
of
fondly.
time in my entire life. So for that,
True.
I put it at the bottom of B. Just
It's
because
fair.
Dead of the Night is great. Ancient Evil is great.
What hurts about this placement is this could have been an S tier if things were just executed properly. Like, in my opinion, this game is only at a B tier solely because of the stupid decisions from Activision. No one is to blame for this game's fault, other in my opinion, than Activision. It's not even that Jason Liddell left and like caused problems, whatnot. No, this game failed because of Activision. Period.
And Tog is okay. But Alpha Omega is my worst, other than Duran Fong, which I don't even know if we can really count Duran Fong being from Treyarch. Maps made by Treyarch, Alpha Omega is the worst map ever.
I agree.
It's my personal worst Treyarch map ever.
It's because it wasn't supposed to exist. We were supposed to have a whole other set of maps that weren't like full-on reused remakes and all that. Like, there's literally no point in playing BO4 as well. If you like the original versions of all the maps from BO4 and Ether, there's no point in purchasing the game. I think that's like one of the reasons why a lot of OG BO1 and BO2 and BO3 fans just didn't even play BO4. They were fully immersed in Fortnite at that point.
Created. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it had great maps, but it also had terrible maps. So that's why I'm putting it in B. And I like the multiplayer. Die Rise is the worst map in my opinion. I can agree with that. I think Transit is worse than Die Rise, not by much, but I
It makes me so thankful that the Die Rise custom map is now released on BO3 because it's one of the most popular maps for that reason. People like that map much more than going back and playing the BO2 one, bro.
I really don't know what it is. It kind of just depends how I feel. Sometimes I think Die Rise is the worst. Sometimes I think Transit is the worst. But all of that literally, like, I don't even think about Transit and Die Rise being bad anymore because Alpha Omega exists.
Exactly. Yeah.
But multiplayer was fun. So that's
Alpha
why
Omega
I put
is
it in the
terrible.
bottom of B. And Blackout was fun.
Horrible
All right,
map.
Here's another hot take. I think some of you might agree with me because a lot of us are zombies guys. We're not really multiplayer guys. But the multiplayer community, if there's anybody on my channel that is from the multiplayer community, you guys are literally going to shit on me so hard about this. I think COD MW19 is mid.
I agree with this. I think this is the most overhyped Call of Duty of all time. MW 2019 had one good map being Shoot House. Everybody was only playing Shoot House at launch. People were hyping up this game for some reason. I think it's because this is where a lot of Fortnite players were fatigued and went back to COD here. And like, okay, Warzone was great for the first year, but the MP was not it. Like, I genuinely think that this game is extremely mid and overhyped. The most overhyped COD game of all time.
Actually, I'll put it here just because
I agree. I agree with that placement.
But
It's overhyped, overloved.
I do not like MW 2019. So another thing with the rose tinted glasses, this was the game during COVID. This is the game everybody was playing during COVID. We were all locked inside.
Yeah.
So
it's the
pretty
sole
much
reason
any
it did
game
well.
in the year of 2020, people were just playing it. So now everybody thinks that it's good.
Exactly.
It's really not.
Exactly.
Once again, people don't remember the launches of these games. They
It's so
just
true.
remember the last time that they played it.
Speak.
They don't
Mattress, bro.
remember how
Speak.
broken and busted this game was at launch.
Yes,
no
bro.
mini map. We didn't have a freaking mini map. It was a compass. And then when they added the mini map in the full game, there was no red dots on the mini map. You couldn't see people. Dead Silence became a specialist or whatever it's called.
I would argue MW 2019 deserves to be here. Like, even lower than anything else. It was bad, man. Nobody was playing it unless it was Shoot House. Like, I just feel like people were living in an alternate reality. It's true. The pandemic definitely changed people's perception on this game.
Field utility, I don't know what the hell it is. It was no longer a perk, so it was just footstep whoring galore. And so you know what that made everybody do? It made everybody sit in a freaking corner. And then
horrible game.
Doors.
Yeah.
This game introduced doors. So people were literally
and then they
just
kept
hiding
that in
dark corners
for multiple
Dude,
games.
The maps, some of them were literally god awful. What was the one with the bridge? Euphrates Bridge, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Awful. Piccadilly. Oh my god.
They were terrible.
Hackney Yard was good. Shoot House was iconic. Now it's considered iconic. But I mean, that's it. I can't even remember half of the maps on MW 2019.
No, man.
Scrapyard. I know they brought back Scrapyard. It was good. And then they brought like Rust. Like
honestly, Cold War and BO6 are still the best COD games that have released in the last 5 years. And that's really not saying much because I don't think even any Cold War or BO6 really even hold a candle to the greats of Call of Duty, like in A or S tier, you know? Like, especially as time goes on, I'm realizing, like, I don't think current Call of Duty teams have the magic that they used to have because the good people that were in the dev studio left to create their own games. That's the problem, man.
Original maps, awful. The campaign was okay. I didn't care for the reboot.
Campaign
but,
was,
it was
whatever.
Good. It was all right. But, dude, that multiplayer... Search and Destroy was the only good thing about that multiplayer. It's the only thing that keeps it from going into D.
It's because you don't have to rely on the radar, bro.
So I played Warzone during COVID when we were all in lockdown just like everybody else did. But I've never been a Warzone guy. The only time I really ever cared about Warzone was Resurgence. But big map, Verdansk, Caldera, whatever, Warzone, no, I don't care for it. And the gameplay is good.
I don't even understand how MW 2019 brought the COD series back. Like, if it wasn't for the pandemic, Call of Duty might actually be in a much worse state than it is today, which is saying something because it's in a rough state today.
Good. I like the gameplay, like the movement and the gunplay, but that's it. That's literally the only thing that I like about Modern Warfare 2019 is the gameplay. All right, next, one of the most underrated Call of Duty games of all time. I think MW 2019 is one of the most overrated.
Same.
I think Cold War is one of the most underrated games.
I agree.
I put Cold War at the...
Listen, I think Cold War is dogged on because it brought bad Warzone updates. And that is the reason why most people don't like Cold War. But if you liked MP and if you liked zombies and even the campaign was great, man. I love the campaign. Like, sure, it doesn't hold the candle to the original Black Ops trilogy, but the campaign was good. The MP was fun. I actually played MP for the first time in a long while, probably since BO4. And the zombies was pretty good too, man. It was a great brought back to Resurgence. D-Machine was so hype, man. Like, I don't think we're even going to get anything as hype as D-Machine ever in the future. Like, I don't even think Black Ops 6 really reached the same heights as D-Machine, to be honest. Like, even with Terminus and Citadel, even though those maps are obviously much better than D-Machine, the hype sentiment is just not there.
Top of B,
you know?
Right under MW3 is perfect for this game. I agree on the gameplay and the gunplay. Yeah. And this is one thing that I like to argue with people about. You got to realize that Warzone, the plan for Warzone to be in development was done before while Blackout was being made.
Yeah.
Blackout was rushed.
Yeah.
It was literally made in like 6 months.
And it's still somehow better than Warzone. Like, that's what I mean. OG Treyarch with Vonderhaar and Blundell was just a force to be reckoned with, man. And it's crazy, because honestly, man, listen, I know people dog on Cold War Zombies because of the map variety being terrible, most of them being from the campaign. But hey, at least we had original wonder weapons. Honestly, I kind of like the plating system better even in Cold War, as opposed to BO6 Zombies, man. Like, I hate to say it, but I actually think there's a lot of aspects that I think Cold War Zombies genuinely does better than BO6. I think right now, especially, there's a massive force on Twitter that just is die hard for Black Ops 6, no matter what it does. And it's just really sad because, honestly, I look back at Cold War, I did way more content on Cold War Zombies than BO6. Like, and I honestly think because of that, like, I'm starting to think that Cold War was a better zombies game than BO6 in a lot of regards. The LTMs were more fun. Outbreak was a fun addition at the time, before it started MW3 and all this other garbage, you know, that came after it. Honestly, like, I think Cold War actually might be a better zombies game than BO6. Like, especially because the hype for the final DLC right now, the Reckoning for BO6, is at an all-time low.
Once they started doing that,
crazy.
Infinity Ward had 2 years to work on Warzone. And you know what they did first? Warzone.
Yeah.
Warzone mechanics. MW 2019 is literally just Warzone multiplayer. Warzone was made before this game was made.
Yeah.
They were making the campaign, but the Warzone mechanics were made before the multiplayer was made.
And that's all thanks to Fortnite. And it's interesting how, like, I see a lot of people, even including myself, saying how, like, Fortnite kind of destroyed COD in a way, which is so true in, like, terms of, like, the operators and stuff that we get right now. But it's also, like, Activision is the one deciding all these changes. They were the ones that decided to put Blackout to be rushed and to make it the way it was and to put all the precedents on Warzone, just basically to increase their revenue models. That was the whole idea. So it's like, really, like, it makes sense why in Blundell's last interview, he's like, yeah, I left because I saw the future of models of Call of Duty and I was like, I'm not going to be a part of that. It makes sense.
And that's the truth. It's literally Warzone multiplayer.
Yeah.
So it's another reason why I don't like it. But on the other hand, I think Cold War is really, really good. I'm actually going to do this.
Honestly, I think Cold War is one of the better Warzone games. Probably, if not the best still to this day. If you don't like Warzone, like myself, you know.
Just because nothing else is really going to go in A, I'm going to put World at War.
Honestly, I still put World at War in S just because Vanguard came out after, and I was like, wow, it makes you really appreciate how incredible World at War was.
An A right there. Just so it can sit with COD 4. These are the GOATs, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cold War, I really enjoyed Cold War. I think it had a good campaign. Ending was kind of whatever. Good campaign, though. Really
Good
fun
campaign.
multiplayer.
Yep.
And I did enjoy the zombies. It was iffy. I think it's slightly above mid. It's just above mid.
I agree.
Because I think the campaign was really fun.
But honestly, like, I don't think any of the next games are going to go above Cold War, personally.
And this Call of Duty was when they introduced Resurgence into Warzone. And that was the only version of Warzone I'd play was on Rebirth Island.
Right.
So, for that reason, I put it in B.
And it's funny because it's like so many people today think Rebirth Island is an Infinity Ward thing. And few people know that that is literally just Mob the Dead. Like, Treyarch did it first, bro. Like,
D-Machine is fun. I really
You know what I
liked
mean?
D-Machine. The camos were great. I did the camo grind. Firebase Z, bad. It was trash.
Not it.
Outbreak was
Terrible
whatever.
map.
It was okay. Mauer Toten, that's the best. I think that's the best map in Cold War. Really like Mauer. And then Forsaken is garbage. So
yeah, Forsaken was
so it's
not
like
good.
you got to split. It's like half and half. You got 2 great maps, you got 2 trash maps, and then you got 1 right in the middle. And then
I will say, like, at least there were unique aspects. I feel like a lot of BO6 now is like, sure, like Terminus was fun, Citadel was fun. There's not a lot of uniqueness in zombies though anymore. Like the Tomb is such a great example of that. Even Shattered Veil, right? Like I know people love to give that map its flowers, but it's also like a lot of the Ray Gun Mark IIs are copied from BO4. Just like a lot of the enemies as well from older zombie games. It's like uniqueness was kind of an interesting deal that Cold War did a lot. Even though even Cold War didn't have a lot of uniqueness. Like the Krasny Soldat was a Panzer Soldat, right? But I mean, at least the Disciple was something. Tempest was new, you know?
I said I enjoyed the multiplayer. So I think it's in B. Now this freaking monstrosity is going into F.
Yeah.
But
Vanguard is the worst, not even just worst Call of Duty game. It's the worst game I've ever played to this day. It is a disaster. And I'll never forget listening to the Activision meeting before that game came out and they were excited to release this trash. And that really solidified to me what Activision is. They lie. They lie to sell profit. It's facts.
I'll put it above Ghost. Vanguard trash campaign. We already talked about this. Multiplayer was whatever. I just did not like the fact that every single gun got to level 70 to get fully maxed out, and it had 10 attachments.
I played the beta of this game and I never played the MP. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the way this game looked and felt, and it is honestly one of the worst COD games ever. The campaign was a joke. The zombies was the biggest joke ever. It made me realize that like Activision will never do more than the bare minimum. And that's what Vanguard proved. And we are 3 games after this now, and that point is still relevant till today.
Each gun could get 10 attachments. It's too much. Only above Ghost because of Shinonuma? Literally. That is literally the reason why it is above Ghost. If Shinonuma would have never released, it would be below Ghost.
And I just watched a video from Mattress talking about Shinonuma is the least played zombies map ever. And that is the only saving grace as to why Vanguard's above Ghost. That's depressing.
I would rather play Extinction than play Duron Fong.
True.
Or Terra Maledicta.
True.
Or the Archon. But I like Shinonuma. But yeah, multiplayer was meh, was whatever. And zombies is garbage, except for Shinonuma. There's not much that I need to say about.
No, Vanguard's terrible
Vanguard.
though.
Everybody knows that Vanguard's bad. But this to me, this right here, this absolute piece of shit is the worst Call of Duty that is.
Thank you. MW2 Remastered has to be one of the worst CODs ever. Like, that 2 years of Vanguard MW2R, and even for me, MW3 Remastered, even with MW3 zombies, it was a tough 3 years, man. This was a very low point for COD zombies.
Ever released.
Yeah.
As somebody who has a lot of hours on this game, I can safely tell you that this is the most unfun, just literally like non-fun Call of Duty game you could ever play.
I played Vanguard more than MW2 Remastered. Like, I don't think I might not have even bought MW3 Remastered. I don't think I did. I'm actually realizing I don't think I bought that game.
At least with Vanguard, the multiplayer, it was fast-paced. It was quick. You could slide cancel. You could do all this stuff. The movement was cool. And I get some people don't like that. And that was the reason why this game was made. Was for the freaking 50-year-old men that still play this damn game, complaining that, like, all people do is slide cancel. Oh, no. I play on 4 sensitivity. I can't turn.
Regardless, though, I do think some of the clips I've seen of, like, MW3 and BO6 are absolutely egregious from those type of, like, slide canceling kids. But regardless, like, this was the worst stretch of Call of Duty by far. Vanguard, MW2, MW3, rough games.
My right stick fast enough. Like, you're telling me you created a Call of Duty game to cater to the literal senior citizens who play this damn game. It was bad. It was awful. It was clunky, slow, sluggish, gross. It had the same problems that MW 2019 had, but literally just made the game speed like 12 times slower. Maps were shit. Farm 18.
I think I remember, like, I actually did buy MW2R. I streamed it the first day it came out, and I never loaded it up again. I think that, like, says it all right there.
It was okay. They added Shipment back and Shoot House. Those were, like, the only maps that were playable. The game didn't have hardcore. So, as somebody, I did the Orion camo grind. So, like, every single gun to get it platinum, you had to get long shots. So, you're telling me I had to get freaking long shots with an SMG with no hardcore. I had to do it in core. Because by the time I finished the camo challenges, hardcore came out like 2 weeks later. I was going to make a video.
I could never do that. This game was so bad. I think most people agree that this is one of the worst Call of Duty games ever made.
This game.
Same thing with Vanguard.
Just talking about how I think it's the worst Call of Duty game ever. I loaded it into it, played one game just to like make sure all my recording stuff was working, and I got off. Like, I don't even know if I could put myself through sitting down and playing that game.
No.
It's so...
Nobody talks about it either. Like, I have to agree. Like, it is one of the worst COD games ever. Regardless, though, I think I would put it above Vanguard just because, I mean, at least it was, like, somewhat noticeable in terms of, like, clips online. But regardless, still F-tier games. Bottom of F.
Bad. So,
makes Ghost look
after
like
that,
a great game.
Modern Warfare 3 came out, and I think it's good.
See, this is the thing. I didn't play MP in this game. I didn't play Warzone in this game. I only played MW3 Zombies, and ultimately, I do think MW3 Zombies was a better iteration of Outbreak. I don't think I'd put it in B. I think I'd put it in D, just because it takes the worst mode from Cold War and makes it its entire identity, but then it doesn't really like add too much outside of that. I did play a lot of it though, way more than I did MW 2019 and MW2, but it still wasn't
Put it behind
everything.
Cold War just because the zombies is not good in MW3. But
Yeah.
the zombies in MW3 was not good. I did not like MWZ, so that's why I put it behind Cold War. But
Yeah.
I think the multiplayer was fun and the campaign was pretty.
I heard a lot of good things from MP, like in terms of all the updates and stuff that they added. So, granted, great. I don't really care about MP though in 2025. It's not really something that intrigues me anymore, especially now that so many other games do it better.
Good. There's not much that I can say about MW3. It's just the fact that this is what MW2 should have been.
True.
This was the game that this game was supposed to be.
Yeah, MW2 Remastered is a filler game. It's so true. This game should have never released. It's literally a garbage piece of just terrible.
And then they just decided to release this garbage. So,
Yeah, I agree.
MW3 was really fun. Now we're on to the final game.
I'm
Black Ops
very
6.
curious where this is going to go.
I really don't know how I feel about BO6. I kind of want to just put it in C just because I don't think it's great, but I also don't think it's bad. I would probably put it here.
Dude, this is what I said. Black Ops Cold War is rated the highest still. Like, okay, BO6 campaign was pretty interesting. I know not a lot of people talked about it, though. It was all right. MP for BO6 is all right. Again, I think the whole Omni movement thing is very, like, ridiculous. Like, it works in MP, but also a lot of the maps in BO6 aren't that great. It's, like, kind of whatever, too, right? But the zombies, I think, is what honestly hurts the most. Because, like I said, I've always said this before, BO6 had one of the most accepting launches since BO1. Like, and people might be shocked that I say that, but like BO3's launch, right? People were not happy about Shadows of Evil when it first dropped. But BO6, everyone was happy about Terminus and even Liberty Falls, even though it got a lot of flack online before. Citadel was great too. The worst part about this game was the tomb. Everything after the tomb has been really not that great. Like, I don't think Shattered Veil really has redeemed the game as much as other people say it has. It's an all right map, but also like we're getting 3 maps in the Liberty Falls area vicinity. It's like, that is just so lame. I don't know why people get excited about that. Like, sure, it's never been done, but it's like, imagine if we had 3 maps on the moon. It would be like, okay, you know what I mean? So in all honesty, like, Black Ops 6 is the one game where I agree. I can see people putting in S or A, or I could even see people putting it in C or D, right? It's kind of a massive range game. And so I kind of have to respect this opinion.
I put it here. I don't think it's better than MW3, but I like Omni.
I do agree, though. I do think most people would agree that the MP of this game is worse than MW3. There were a lot more rewards, a lot more interesting updates for MW3. I can agree with that.
Movement more, and just like the gameplay and the maps and stuff are just a tad bit better than MW 2019. And it has zombies, so that's why I think it's better.
Right.
But zombies carries Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
100%. It carries Black Ops 6.
I agree. I do think like the launch of this game was one of the best we've ever had. It's genuinely true. Like, I'll give Black Ops 6 its flowers for that. The launch was incredible. It's just what we're getting now is, I think, what soured the game so much. And honestly, like I said, the thing that people are going to remember Black Ops 6 for is its operator spam with like Seth Rogen and Beavis and Butthead and all that, but also its inclusion of AI. Like, that might literally create a dystopian era for Call of Duty. And it's crazy because we might have already seen that, but it's going to get a lot worse if that is a main staple of the game, which seems like Microsoft might be making it become a reality. Because again, this game had a 4-year development. people always clown me and they say, "Oh, 4 years, you can't really say that because no, dude, it had a 4-year development. This game was supposed to be something incredible. It was supposed to be a great sequel to BO4. They even tried doing chaos maps, and I feel like they just haven't nailed the aspect of what chaos really tried to portray in BO4. Like, BO6 is honestly a mid game, and I have to say there are aspects of Cold War Zombies I think I appreciate better. And I don't know. While I do think Cold War Zombies gameplay I think is more fun, I think BO6 zombie maps are more fun, right? So it's a trade-off, really.
The multiplayer is in such a bad state, and like Warzone is in such a bad state. It's like, if you're not playing BO6 for zombies and you're not like
nobody's playing
in the
it.
Competitive scene,
Yeah.
like, don't play it.
It's a repeat of Cold War in that regard. Like, it missed on the Warzone mark, but it's nailing the zombies aspect for the basic needs. But I do agree. It's a neck and neck of mid to mid in a lot of regards. It will never be these A and S tier games, right?
There's literally no point in playing it. I do really like Black Ops 6 Zombies for the most part. Terminus is great. I like
Terminus is
Terminus.
great.
I actually really like Terminus. Liberty Falls is pretty good. I
fun.
used it to grind camos.
Yeah.
I mean, it did exactly
Just
what
like
it's a
everyone else.
glorified survival map.
Yeah.
Citadel, awesome. Citadel is
Love
probably
Citadel.
the best map. Really like Citadel. Tomb was kind of mid. It was whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think, I didn't really care for it too much. And Shattered Veil is pretty good. So,
See, I think BO6 will be remembered more fondly in terms of zombies, but again, if it fails on the casual front, it will fail as a whole. This is what was proved in Cold War. We're seeing it again repeated in BO6. Personally, I also think zombies in BO6 is still a far step away from what we even had in BO4, which is tough. It's tough, man.
in a whole, zombies, the maps are great. I just hate Warzone mechanics in my zombies maps.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Stop making it like Warzone.
If they take out Warzone mechanics in zombies, I genuinely believe we could get a game as good as BO4 again. I really believe it. Even a game as good as the original trilogy, potentially, if there's enough cohesion with the map elements and stuff. But we're not there right now. We're not there. We're still in this Warzone era of COD. This has been one of the worst eras for all of Call of Duty so far, in my opinion, especially after looking at this list.
Like, it's literally just, that's what's killing this game.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
yeah, I think it's just mid. Black Ops 6 is pretty mid.
Yeah.
So here is my complete Call of Duty tier list. These are all the main series.
This is a great list.
Black Ops
Great
3 is
list,
my
Mattress.
number 1, and MW2 2022 is the worst. And it's just the rapid decline from here. Rapid decline.
Yeah.
But will we
And
ever...
it's true. I don't think we will ever see an A or S tier map, just because we watched Henry's COD tier list, and he was basically saying how when they block out zombie maps, they don't even have an exchange of communication with the actual Treyarch development teams in terms of the people like making the story and doing the gameplay. It's like, how can we ever go back to the A and S tier maps that we had in the OG Black Ops trilogy if they're not even communicating? They're not even trying to aim for what these games did. And it's because they're not appealing to us. COD Zombies has turned into a Warzone gun grinding simulator. And that's just that. So, Mattress, shout out to this video. This is an absolutely incredible video. Makes me really think about Call of Duty in a different way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see y'all in that next one.